From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
and this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's warchant.com's Azan Hajavandi.
and Corey Clark.
Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, you know what we're going to talk about. FSU has announced they're going to allow, they want Mike Norvell to lead its storied football program indefinitely, apparently, despite futility never before seen at Florida State. We react. Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. Shake it and take it. Use a promo code warchantbogo. Warchant, B-O-G-O. Be on the lookout. We're going to see if we're going to get this whole Black Friday special off the floor, Corey, or off the ground, rather, where Warchant BOGO promo code is going to work. But if you order, should we say like 5 or more Vitamin Energy boxes for representing each of the illustrious victories this season?
Yeah.
If you make an order of 5 or more on Black Friday, send me the screenshot. We'll mail you out one of these Nike polos that are Warchant Vitamin Energy branded. They look sweet. Corey wears it all the time. You could be just like Corey Clark.
They are nice. They are nice. And, yeah, that's a great promo. We should do that.
So be on the lookout for that. In the meantime, VitaminEnergy.com, Warchant BOGO, your promo code, Warchant.com, Ultimate Seminole Sports Source. Students, you can join for a whole year for absolutely free. Just email support at warchant.com from your fsu.edu email address. The rest of y'all, just give us $1 for a week, and you'll get a year subscription to The Athletic. That they are indeed going to keep and retain Mike Norvell for the 2020. I don't know. They didn't even say for the. They didn't even give. I wish they would have just said we're going to keep him for 2026. Because I'm like, okay. Then there's some sort of. Hold on. I don't even like. Nonetheless, we are joined by our senior writer over at warchant.com, Corey Clark. Corey, you, Jeff, and I had the distinct pleasure of having to inform everybody, I guess, secondhand, because the school sent out an email. And did they tweet it? I think they tweeted it, but they didn't use the climb hashtag, so that should make Jeff a little bit happier. But where are you at right now? A few more hours after we all talked about kind of the bewilderment. I don't know if disappointment's a fair word, but just all the feelings we felt when we saw that email hit our boxes on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of where I'm surprised. We were driving, Stephanie and I were driving back from Atlanta on Sunday when the email came out saying that he was going to be retained. And Stephanie's like, oh, man. And I'm like, yeah, that's crazy. And I do think it's crazy. But I want to differentiate two things. I think it's crazy because I don't think he deserves to be the head coach any longer.
Correct.
Like, right, he does not.
No.
They are 3-13 in their last 16 ACC games. They followed up 1-7 with 2-6 and a win over Bama, but 2-6. Still haven't won on the road this season. He doesn't deserve to be the head coach in 2026. That does not mean 2026 is going to be a disaster because he's the head coach. They can be mutually exclusive. You might not think he deserves to be the head coach, but they might end up actually having a good team next year. He has proven he can coach. Now, he's proven he can't coach, too. You know, like, obviously, I know I'm saying both things. But that's kind of what the next 9 months or 10 months are going to be. It's probably me doing a lot of fighting back at people that think there's no chance this program is a serious threat. There's no chance that this program doesn't take itself seriously. They don't care about winning, and on and on and on. I don't think that's true. I understand that this is not good enough. I wrote as much Friday. I thought he should have been fired after the Stanford game, as I wrote in my column on Saturday morning. Late Friday night, early Saturday morning, I would have made the announcement on Saturday that he was gone. I would have done it. He gave you enough reasons. But the administration sees it differently. That does not mean I'm right and they're wrong. It doesn't mean you're right and they're wrong. They might be right. This might be the best avenue for Florida State. It might end up working out where Mike Norvell, through some miracle of all miracles, is able to put together a roster that can compete for an ACC championship next year, and everybody's going to be happy enough again. That could happen, as opposed to letting him go and bringing in somebody else and hoping it works with them. Like, that could happen. That's not an impossibility. I don't even know if it's an improbability. I don't think Norvell's a worse coach than Tony Elliott or Pat Narduzzi. Pat Narduzzi's, I think they're I know they're 8-3, but I think if Virginia Tech beats Virginia and Pitt beats Miami, Pitt's an ACC championship game. It's look at the teams that are competing for the ACC championship game: Pitt, SMU, and Virginia. Florida State can reach those heights next year, everyone, even with this guy as head coach. But I think, as we've talked about this, I don't know that he deserves I do know he doesn't deserve the chance to get to see if he can fix this.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about
he is
teams
getting to fix it.
Man, you're talking about teams like Virginia and Pitt. That's not what we're measuring ourselves against. It's crazy. I get it.
No,
I think it's improbable, man, that he's going to turn this thing around. I don't think it's impossible.
My point is, what constitutes a turnaround? What constitutes a good season?
10
According to you,
wins?
it's being in contention in November.
Yes.
Well, Virginia, Pitt, Miami, Georgia Tech, SMU, they're all in contention in November. It ain't that hard to get there. And we can't just sit here and say because what happened this year, there's absolutely no chance. Yeah. It can't be. But my point, I was about to make the point here. So what happens this year it means there's no chance for this team to be any good next year. Think about what we watched last year. Not anyone watching that team could have ever foreseen a scenario where you beat effing Alabama by 2 touchdowns. The very first game of the next season. Now, clearly, you fell off a cliff after that because that's what happens. But that's how quickly rosters can turn over, and that's how quickly fortunes can change. So, again, I want to reiterate, I don't think he should be the head coach at Florida State. He didn't deserve it. This is an abject embarrassment, this thing has looked like the last 2 years. To be 3-13 in this conference is absurd. That does not mean next year they can't go 6-2 or 7-1 in the conference. That's all on the table. This is a dawn of a new era, man. It's 2026. Go fire your head coach and pay him $50 million. Or maybe go get yourself a badass quarterback and see how that plays for a while. That's what Miami's doing. It's working out okay for them. Maybe this time, this cycle, go make sure you get the best quarterback available or one of the top 3 available. And see what that looks like. Try that on for size.
Man, 2 years ago, you pass on Cam Ward, and I get it. Yep. They could have, no matter what number they would have thrown at Cam Ward, Miami would have gone $1 higher to get him. I don't know if that's really the case, but I understand the narrative behind that. You did not waste any time in hiring Gus Malzahn and going after Tommy Castellanos.
Yep.
So, I mean, again, where is the track record of him identifying, evaluating, bringing in his own guy at this level? At this level where the pressure is on just a whole nother level, man. I listened to Coach speak on the way back from Jacksonville. You guys have my guy John Sumrall on, and very funny, folksy kind of. He's from Alabama, coach of Kentucky, he's a son of the South and all that good stuff. And I'm like, I like him a lot, and he's doing really well at Tulane. He did really well at Troy. I don't know if he could do it in Tallahassee. There is a level of pressure here, man, that just absolutely wears down it wore down Jimbo Fisher, and it's obviously worn down Mike Norvell. I just don't understand how we think year 7 he's going to be rejuvenated because, I don't know, we're taking everything off of his plate. He's Mario at least can identify offensive linemen. He has guys that know how to recruit defensive linemen. Mike doesn't possess any of the things you need a head coach to possess.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far, but again, I'm not arguing with his performance, and I'm not saying he deserves to stay. I don't know. I don't.
All right, let's game it out. All right, so this is most likely going to consist of, as Peter Collins said, structural changes. So this is, new GM with better evaluation skills and ability. Maybe a separate high school recruiting department, separate from your portal acquisition department. And then, I don't know, man, this is probably going to involve a few new coaches. I don't know if everyone's going to be retained. Can you retain?
It would sound like you're definitely going to need a new offensive coordinator.
Why does it sound like you're definitely going to need one? Because of the way he spoke on Sunday?
Because of the way you were in the room, Aslan?
I don't know.
the way Gus answered that question on if he intends to be here next year, and he's like, yeah, well, I intend to help us win this game come Saturday. And that was his answer.
Yeah.
That's my sole focus right now. It's like, okay, Gus, it was good knowing you.
Okay, so new guy comes in, finds a good OC out there that can bring his quarterback with him.
Yeah.
And you kind of try to make it look something like Oklahoma. Maybe Tony White stays and he can build this core of defensive guys that are true freshmen right now into year 2. And like he said, when they got their hands on the ball this season, but they drop it. Maybe next season they actually catch it. And
I think there's some validity to that. I don't roll my eyes at stuff like that. I think Arnaud is going to be a really good player.
I agree.
Yeah, and maybe next year that's a pick 6 to win the game. Legitimately. Like, I think he has a chance to be that good. I think Rawls is good. Earl Little could come back, should come back. The Desir twins. There is, on that side of the ball, there is some stuff to be excited about, not the least of which the way they played the last month. Like, they've been the strength of your team, clearly. Like, those road games, I know they gave up, They gave up 2 touchdowns to NC State, essentially, and they gave up 2 touchdowns to Clemson. Those are good offenses that usually put up a ton of points at home. So I've liked what I've seen from the defense. I'm stoked if Tony White comes back. Like, I think that's a good addition. I think that guy and we'll see. He said he wasn't going anywhere, or he made it sound like that. Like, if you heard something I haven't when he was asked about it. But I like the prospect of him coming back because of how he's coached those guys, how they've improved, how they do play well on the road or have played well on the road, at least 2.5 of their games. But mainly how they've improved and how he evaluates players. That gets me excited about what the defense could be because he's seen enough to know what he needs. But also I think those guys, I think they're schemed up well, I think they're coached well, and I think they improved as the season went on. Can't say that about the offense, but you can say that about the defense. I think Tony White has been a nice addition to this staff, and that would be a big addition or a big retainment if he comes back. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I mean, you kind of cut me off at the pass. That's totally fine, and it's accurate. And listen, this is going to be the first show of, unfortunately, dozens where, it's going to be very repetitive. And I apologize in advance, but, maybe I was a little bit harsher when I said he possesses none of the things you want in a head coach. But he's essentially, it seems like we think, going to operate in a manner in which he performs none of the functions of a head coach truly. Other than like picking out their jerseys, like I joked about. I mean, if they're going to have an offensive coordinator bring his own quarterback in, so that's a huge thing you're taking off his plate. Yeah. If you're bringing that offensive coordinator in, he's calling plays. If you're bringing in an NFL caliber GM or a GM that you're going to seed over all this kind of evaluation ability and metric usage, then you're not part of the formula that's going to be bringing in a lot of these players. And then again, you are the offensive guy. Venables, at least in Oklahoma, at least he still can. Jim Nagy can be like, listen, I'm turn everything over to me offensively. You handle the defense. You got a good feel for what you need on that side of the ball. I'll make sure the offense is going fine, and that's a really good marriage. Again, man, he's not going to call plays. We don't trust him to recruit the quarterback. We don't trust him to recruit anybody offensive line, defensive line. And you're keeping him because I get it. It's the money. Yeah. But all this is going to cost money too, Corey, and it's going to cost a lot more money, I feel like, in the near term than it would be if you would have moved off of Mike. Because if you move off of Mike, at least all that's 7 years you have. 6 years to pay all that off. You're going to have to send a lot of people packing, and I know they don't maybe make $2 million a year, but I would imagine everybody in Derek Ray's department and underneath him are making 6 figures, and there's probably 10 to 12 people in that department. There's $1.5 million.
Yeah, but I don't know if those types of people have like multi-year contracts. You just they work at the behest of the coach, and they just lose their jobs. I don't know that you owe them severance.
But
I don't know how it works with those kind of staffers.
Fair,
I know coaches get multi-year deals, but I don't know that staffers like that get multi-years. No, this is a short-term, and they hope it's a long-term investment. But short-term, you're saving a lot of money. You're saving a lot of money. But man, you got to, again, even just going by, let's say you'd pay Norvell $10 million next year to not coach. You also pay Gus $2 million to not coach. Tony White, $2 million not to coach. That's 14. Whoever else you fire, you're up in the neighborhood of $18 million, $19 million to people not to coach your team. You also then have to pay all their replacements. So again, you're saving about $19 or $20 million probably.
I know, but
by keeping him. Now, what are you costing yourself in the long term? I get it. I know that's a worry, and that's not fun to think about. But there also is a world. I get what you're saying, but think of it this way. Think of it, even if he's just a figurehead.
He doesn't deserve to be a figurehead here. That pisses me off so much. I'm sorry.
I get it. But just go with that for a second. that he's a figurehead. You're still not like the person that's coaching the offense and the person that's coaching the defense. The guy like Norvell, you're saving that money, I guess is what I'm saying. Like if you're making, I know you don't want to just waste money to pay a guy not to coach, and he wouldn't be. He's not that guy. He's going to be involved. We all get that. But I understand your concern that like he's being propped up. He's just a figurehead. He's not. You're going to bring in all these guys and make all these changes to keep him here. Well, what if it works?
Is it him though? Is it because of him? Could it be anybody else? Then why does he get the?
Of course
he gets
not.
to be the guy that I'm going to
credit.
hoist the trophy, and everybody that's pissed off is going to start clapping for me again.
But no,
I got to root for that possibility.
I get it, but no, who cares? If he's hoisting a trophy, who cares who gets the credit? But there's no guarantee it doesn't work. And in the meantime, it saves you money. I get it. There's also no guarantee it does work. That's the risk of these hires. It all comes back to a bad contract that was signed 2 years ago. That's the reality of everything. It was a bad contract that was signed 2 years ago, but it was signed. We're here. And, you know, there's no guarantee that 2026 is going to be a disaster at all. I mean, this hasn't been a disaster. It's just been frustrating. In the results at the end of the year when you're 2-6 in this stupid conference is embarrassing. It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment to always have the road fans doing the mock war chant. NC State, big bad NC State that's 6-5. Mike Norvell's 0-4 against them. In fact, NC State is 6-1 in their last 7 games against Florida State overall. NC State, all that is an embarrassment. There is a chance, is all I'm saying. There is a chance. You've got to make it work at quarterback. You've got to go out and spend money on a roster. You've got to. And if that roster puts together a 9 or 10 win season, and Mike Norvell is hoisting a trophy in Charlotte, nobody is going to think that Mike Norvell is a genius. Nobody is going to think he deserves all the praise. But who cares? It worked, in the short term at least, and it saved you that money. There's also a chance it could go 4-8 at 5-7 again, and then you're in the exact same spot next year than you are right now.
How many people do we think they're going to add like net positive, just in terms of like numbers? Because again, like that's money they're going to have to spend to, to quote, prop him up. That these are new hires they're going to have to make, things that they maybe don't have on the books, or people that are going to have to replace existing roles at a much higher rate. Jim Nagy's contract though it's 3 years, $2.55 million. So if you're Florida State, you are in much more dire straits than Oklahoma was last year. If you're the whatever agent represents these people, I think you look at Nagy and you're like, well, that's the floor, man. That's the floor. That's if you want to be, 3 losses and you're still cool with this setup. Or does Oklahoma have 2 losses? But what I'm saying, like, so that's a guaranteed contract that you would have to pay a guy like that. And again, like, you let go Mike, you're not paying him $50 million. If you were to hire Lane Kiffin, which is a terrible example, but LSU's not going to pay Lane Kiffin $90 million tomorrow or by 2028. Man, it's an annual contract. Like, in that 1 year, that fiscal year, it's tolerable. I think getting rid of Mike and bringing somebody new would have been tolerable because I don't believe
100%.
I don't know, man. It just
again, I'm again. This is when I fight back or push back on you. It's not to say that I disagree. I'm pushing back from the administration's point of view. I think that the Stanford game was the last straw. I certainly think what happened on Friday night was I thought it was the perfect way for his career at Florida State to end, honestly. A bounce off of 2 muff punts in a row. The team that preaches and practices special teams like no other. You have a ball bounce off a kid's head, shoot 20 yards backwards right to the punter because you have the unluckiest coach on earth.
Hell of a set of hands on that punter, by the way.
By the way, great job by him. Such a horrible punt. What a choke artist of a punter.
Yeah.
But then he, in that situation, to punt the ball 17 yards when you're trying to pin a team inside the 10 is preposterous. He ends up recovering it because it's such a bad punt. It shoots right back to him. And then he ends up hitting a good punt the next one that Squirrel White, of course, fumbles because Florida State has not had a competent punt returner since Greg Reed.
Well, Keon Coleman, right?
Yeah, Keon was good, but it's like you don't put your pseudo first-round pick, 6'4" punt returner. It's crazy anyway. Like I see.
You lucked into that one. Not into getting Key on your roster, but you lucked into him actually being a good punt returner because it felt like you were just throwing anything at the wall and you're like, let's just try this.
Yeah, they had
guy.
Toafili doing it. And I could tell from day one of practice that Toafili couldn't. He wasn't built for that. But anyway, yeah. So all that happened. I thought it was the perfect send-off. Your offense was a joke again on the road. I shouldn't say a joke. They move up. They move between the 20s and 30s fine. No big plays. They've got one receiver. The other one that seemed to be coming on got concussed.
He is coming on, though.
Except for the quarterback.
He is coming on, man. McCoy's coming on, man.
I think McCoy could be something if he could stay on the field. He could be something. And that's not a shot at him getting what looked like to be concussed, but he's had a hard time being healthy in his 2 years here. But, yeah, so that game was just like the perfect summation, I thought. Like another road loss to another average team. They're mocking you at the end. You can't. You have two chances to fumble a punt, even when your defense rises up like it did. And again, that's a reason I like that. The way the defense kind of played there, the way it played against Clemson to keep you in the game. I know they give up their hour-long drives in every game, but other than that, I really have liked the way they played over the last month. And I do like Tony White, not only as a communicator, but as a coach, man. The way he schemes up it's worked, and he doesn't even have his right guys in here yet, and he's got no defensive line to speak of. Then he got out of the portal anyway. So I like him. But, yeah, your defense rose up, showed some fight, showed some heart, showed some want to, and what do you know? The ball bounces off your kid's helmet. Perfect. So you're 5-6. You're right back where you were 4 years ago, needing to win over interim coach at Florida to get bowl eligible. So all of that is to say, in my opinion, it should have happened. But it didn't happen. So we can lament and be frustrated and criticize and point fingers and listen to all the fans, not all the fans, but some fans, a vocal minority, I think, but it's very vocal, say they're through with FSU and FSU doesn't care about winning and FSU's cheap and all this, and this. We can do that for the next 9 months, or we can try to see where this goes from here. Because this is like a case study in the new era of college football, in my opinion. Blue Bloods don't do this.
Nope.
Blue Bloods don't hold on to someone like this. But this would be the biggest, because of James Franklin going to Virginia Tech, this would be the biggest buyout in college football history, right? Or second biggest, I guess, behind Jimbo.
Yep.
I mean, in this day and age where, you don't have the iconoclast coaches anymore, the head coaches, it's more and more like the NFL where you just sub someone in. It's about the players it's always been about the players, but now you can go procure players with payment. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do here. You could I would love the Falcons to fire Raheem Morris. Would love it. I don't think he's a great game day coach. I think he makes some bizarre decisions. I think his players do some really dumb things. I would not want the Falcons to pay $50 million of their $230 million salary to do it. I don't think he's that important.
Because you're not as passionate about the Falcons as you are the Noles.
Well, no, that's true. But my point is, and this isn't, again, I'm on record. I'm not going to keep saying it. Norvell should not be here, but he is here. I don't think head coaches carry the weight anymore like they did when we were coming up. Certainly when I was growing up, and even in the last 10 or 15 years. They don't carry that kind of weight anymore. It's about it's about the people around the head coach, and by God, it's about the roster. Now, who gets you that roster? Well, a lot of that has to do with the head coach or the bagmen. Well, they're not even bag. I guess you could still be a bagman even if it's on the up and up, right?
Yeah.
You could still drop off a McDonald's bag of cash.
That's right.
It's all fair. It doesn't have to be something that a notary signs. But, yeah, so that's why I think this is a great kind of experiment in what this is going to look like. No NFL team would ever pay a head coach that kind of money to leave. They just wouldn't. I
don't know, man, but a bunch of other guys have, man. Not a bunch of others.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying, does that make it right or wrong? At some point, you've got to bite the bullet and say, no, we made a horrible mistake 2 years ago with that dumb contract. We're not going to compound it by paying him to go away. We're going to try to use the modern era of college football and get players, put our money into players, and not money into firing this coach to bring in another coach. Let's put our money back into evaluation, coaching, like schematically coaching. Go get X's and O's guys, man, and get somebody to get me players. Get me development, evaluation, in Mike Norvell can go sit in the Bobby Bowden Tower. Get a roster here that can compete at this level. And look, this roster is fine. This roster is good enough to be in Charlotte. It's proven that. It does dumb things when it matters the most. Now, that's a head coach problem. I get it. But maybe they'll figure it out in the offseason.
What we don't need time to figure out is that the place to be in Tallahassee is the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, cptallybar.com, the website if you want to check out the menu beforehand. But just know that when you get there and you look at that menu, everything's going to look and sound good. It's also going to taste good. So fear not. Take advantage of the daily lunch specials from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. for only $8.99, entree and side dish. Take advantage of the social calendar. Tuesdays, Trivia night, 7 p.m. Thursday nights, bingo, cash money up for grabs in 4 different rounds. $250 up for grabs each single round. Don't go to the swamp. It's not worth it. I don't know. It's kind of a 50. It's like a 60-40 coin flip if that's such a thing. But yeah, maybe don't put yourself through that. Watch it with Noles.
Corner Pocket and watch it at Corner Pocket. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a great day of college football all around.
Well, we were owed that. This past weekend was pathetic.
It was awful. It was awful.
Got to knock it off, everybody. Start scheduling a little bit better. I cannot believe Florida-Tennessee was the primetime game on ABC. But anyhow, who doesn't make these kind of gaffes, these mistakes? Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Check them out, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, cptallybar.com, the website.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Why would you wander around a warehouse store looking for paint when you could just swing by your neighborhood Ace? In addition to Ace's award-winning service, we have top-rated paint brands. Plus, our color matching technology allows us to match any color. So stop wandering and start painting. Head to your neighborhood Ace today.
In Crawfordville, your home convenience store is Ace Home Center and Napa Auto Parts, located at 2709 Crawfordville Highway. Form and function, fit and futuristic. Ditch the old clunky stale wallet for a wallet from Ridge. Featuring premium materials for a premium feel. It'll be the last wallet you're ever going to buy because Ridge comes with a lifetime warranty. Oh yeah, and free shipping. And a 99-day risk-free trial. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off at Ridge by using code WAKEUP at checkout. Just head to ridge.com and use the code WAKEUP, and you're all set. I like this thing, guys. I've got better lower body mobility. Is it because I haven't been sitting on a wallet for like the last 6 months, or is it because I've been doing a little bit more mobility workout at the gym? I don't know, but it fits right into your front pocket. Piece of cake. And I'm not skinny jean guy. Okay, let's be honest. I know you guys think my fashion styles might be a little too flamboyant, but I don't wear skinny jeans. But I wear slim fit stuff, and it fits perfectly. So if you got the baggy stuff, piece of cake. Front pocket, all good. When you do your check before you leave the house, you won't have to tap the back of your back. You'll just be like, front pocket, I'm good to go. Check out Ridge, ridge.com. Use the promo code WAKEUP to save 10% off your order. We are back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, warchantbogo, your promo code. Picking up the conversation from the previous segment, Corey, about this is the case study now about kind of how upper echelon blue blood programs possibly could operate. The 2014 Florida State team, this is probably a bad example, but obviously there was, the nation, it felt like everybody was rooting against Florida State every single weekend as a Florida State fan. Yep. And part of it was maddening. Part of it was also funny and fulfilling. Like when you would retweet that account that was, did Florida State lose this week? And it was like, nope.
Yeah.
27 times or whatever we hit on it. What do you think a Ryan Day, a Kirby Smart, a Dan Lanning, a Steve Sarkisian think when they look at what's going to happen here? And they look at Mike Norvell, and maybe not even those upper echelon coaches, but the other guys like a Brent Key, an Elijah Drinkowitz, a Willie Fritz. Like when they look and they see that you've kind of landed on, been born on third base, being able to be at this place and have this much equity and this much rope. And now you're going to get everything possible, right? Like you're going to get this evaluation scouting department. You're going to get more money, apparently, most likely to get the absolute best players and outbid everybody.
Right? It's kind of speculative about what exactly changes structurally are coming, but we assume that it's going to be stuff like that, but it's not like we know for sure what that even means. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Right. Just, it sounds like, listen, I mean, McCullough said we're complete agreement that changes are needed for the program to improve. Again, Colin says, we will address performance deficiencies in the program. This may include structural changes. And then, Michael Alford talking about needing to improve their ability to compete for championships. Like, they're not dipping their toe in this. I mean, which this is the second part of the conversation I want to have about why are we waiting? Why didn't we do this after 2024? So let's bookmark that point. But do you think other programs, other fan bases are going to look at Florida State? Like, are we Texas Tech now, where people are almost going to kind of laugh at us if we end up getting a really good player or winning a bunch of games? I know we come from a different stock than Texas Tech. We've been on the mountaintop before. They have not. But I just feel like we are everything I hate about this sport right now. And we're going to be even worse about it because we have to move forward with this guy and create this apparatus around him to win football games.
But isn't that what all teams are doing?
I don't know. Is it Kirby? I feel like Kirby probably
get that out of your mind. Get that out of your mind. Kirby isn't here, and you don't have a Kirby. He's one of one. So you could say like Dan Lanning at Oregon. Well, Dan Lanning at Oregon has a ton of resources and has the entire West Coast. Like, that's all his property because Oregon's the only real football power out there. But yeah, let's go ahead and admit it. Kirby Smart and Dan Lanning are better coaches than Mike Norvell. I'll go out on a limb and say that. But the other guys, like I just don't think you should worry about what the perception is of Florida State. Like,
I don't, but
I just winning. How they win shouldn't matter because this is the way of the world. Like, I don't think anybody's laughing at Texas Tech. They're smart. They went out and got really good players because, by God, they're Texas Tech, and they want to see what it's like too. So that makes sense. So everybody should be following that blueprint as long as it's legal. Everybody should until they sign whatever that stupid College Sports Commission contract is. They all should be spending money to get the best players in the country. That's how sports works, and it's a professional sport now. So go get them. And whether I don't know that is Sirianni propped up because he's got the best defensive line in the world? Bad loss by Sirianni, by the way, on Sunday, huh?
They lost and the Cowboys came back?
Yeah, they're up 21-0 early in the second quarter, and I don't think scored again and lost 24-21. So Sirianni needs to be fired. But yeah, I just think this you get whether you're a good coach or bad coach, but especially if you're a bad coach, you need really good players. And all programs should be doing this. Like, I don't think we're not laughing at Miami. Miami's doing it right.
Talk so much crap. I'm saying, as a Florida State fan, you're talking so much crap about Miami. As a college football fan, you're talking so much crap about Texas Tech. And I'm not. And I know I just said a second ago.
I don't know what you mean. I'm not being.
This is a farce, man. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing that this is how you need to be able to make this program win football games. This is Florida State University, man. You should not need a $10 million head coach to stay out of the kitchen as much as humanly possible to win football games. That is crazy.
But what does that have to do with Miami and Texas Tech? That's what I was asking. You said we were talking so much crap about Miami and Texas Tech. Who was?
Well, Florida State fans, everything Miami does is because they have more money, right? Like, nothing is ever because they were better evaluators of talent. It's not because they've got a better plan. They have plans of succession for their quarterbacks. Florida State does not,
No, and I definitely don't think if they're saying that now, then they don't know what they're talking about. Cristobal, for some of his faults, can really recruit, especially on the line of scrimmage. There's a lot of homegrown guys there, and then they go and pay for a top-notch quarterback, which is what you should do. I mean, that's what you should do. And so it makes sense that they do it, and I'm sure they'll do it again next year. They might go get the guy that just beat Florida State. He's a sophomore. He's 6'6", and he's from Miami. So Florida State might be playing C.J. Bailey next year in a different uniform, for all we know. But yeah, man, I get it. You don't want to pay a guy $10 million a year not to be a coach or to give him all these, all these helping hands.
You're paying him $10 million to not coach, regardless.
I don't know about that. I don't think that. I don't think.
Well, I'm not trying to. His pregame speeches about I know all the work you put in and how much you pour into each other. I mean,
again, you're making me have to take a stand.
You don't have to, Corey. You don't have to, man. No, there's a time to be optimistic about this. There's a time to be optimistic.
Did that. He was a figurehead. He was propped up, quote unquote, by the best defensive coordinator that's ever lived in Mark Richt and a bunch of awesome football players. Bobby Bowden from 1993 to 2009 did not call a play other than chiming in for a reverse. And sometimes he'd leave practice early. But hey, man, he's Bobby Bowden.
Yes.
Like, again, I'm not saying that's even good or bad. Like he earned that right, and also
yes,
he was involved.
Right.
But I don't think Mike Norvell is going to stand there in a tower and just watch practice. He will be coaching. Now, you might want to tell him to tune him out. I don't know, but it's not like he's going to be not involved in the day-to-day runnings of the program. And I get it. We all want a pound of flesh or 5 pounds of flesh, because of what he's done to this program the last 2 years. And he deserves ridicule and scold and scorn. All that's true. But I don't care how they get back to winning football games. If the best route for Florida State to be good in 2026 is to not spend that kind of money to fire this guy and hire a new guy, but to bring in better players across the board, and especially on defense, I think you really like the guy doing the evaluating if he's here, then that, so be it. That's what you have to do. And if Norvell is just a figurehead that's propped up, but they win 9 or 10 games, don't care. Not everybody is Kirby or Lincoln Riley. You've got it. Whatever the short term, the best case scenario for Florida State is what I'm interested in. And I don't know that he can win next year. I'm not predicting it, but I also know it's not an impossibility. And they can't get him a roster. And if you announce on January 5th that Mensah from Duke is coming to Florida State to be your quarterback, people will be fired up about it. They should be anyway. Because to me, watching all the football I've watched over the last 40 years of my life, the quarterback is more important than the head coach. Going to go ahead and say it, Aslan. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm going to go ahead and say that.
Jim
Maybe
Tressel
not at Georgia.
disagrees with you.
Maybe not at Georgia. But almost everywhere else. Miami is Miami because they had Cam Ward and they went and got Carson Beck. They're still not going to make the playoffs apparently because the committee hates the ACC, which nobody's upset with about that. But you look at the NFL, man. Is Sean McVay an awesome coach, or is Matt Stafford having an awesome year?
Well, he also made a really good decision to go get that guy. And there's no telling that Matthew Stafford was going to absolutely blossom in his 30s somewhere else. But he had the foresight to make the move to go get him. Yeah. I don't trust this guy to make anything resembling that at all.
But the Patriots with Brady and Belichick, how'd that look? Belichick's best ever done it. Without Brady, not great.
Belichick, Bowden. Anybody else you want to compare him to?
Yeah, I'm throwing all the legends under the bus.
Yeah.
And then, and now look at the Patriots. They have a real quarterback again. They're good again.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, it just what has really hurt this program. Again, Mike Norvell has botched it beyond belief. But that's the position. That's the position, man.
They went and got Tommy. They handpicked Tommy.
But that was I feel like Tommy was a Band-Aid on a massive gunshot wound of 2-10. And you're bringing in Gus because he can fix it immediately. Not a great fix, not a championship fix, but he can get you back to respectability immediately. And he did. But he did it with his own kind of quarterback, who now leads them in rushing, by the way, if you're wanting to know how the offense is going at Florida State. Tommy, who we don't even think has been much of a rusher for a lot of this year, leads Florida State in rushing yards. But that was year one coming off 2-10. It was there is a blazing inferno in this shopping complex. We've got to put the fire out by any means necessary. Well, now the fire is out. It is not a disastrous fire like it was in 2024. Now you've got to rebuild with something of substance at that position and probably on that side of the ball, period. Because, again, it doesn't sound like Gus. In my opinion, it doesn't sound like Gus is going to be here. But you can't miss on a quarterback. You can't miss. Is Sperry the guy? Don't know. Would love to see him in a bowl game, Mike. Wouldn't that be cool if you could win a road game and get this program to a bowl game so Kevin Sperry could play? And even if he played well, I don't know if that's the answer. But you've got to get a quarterback. And you've got to go spend money on it. You can't get by on the cheap when it comes to a quarterback. There are going to be some out there, including the guy I just mentioned that just beat you. I don't know that playing at NC State is that appealing or attractive. If you get Deuce to come back, Danzy to come back, McCoy's good, and you say, hey, C.J. Bailey, you want to come throw to these guys in this stadium?
Mason Heinschel?
Tell me. I'd take that kid in a heartbeat.
Oh,
I would take
absolutely.
Heinschel, the Reed kid, who didn't even play against Georgia Tech, and they still put up 50 points, and those two linebackers at Pitt, I'd take them in a heartbeat. but you can get a roster that's as good as Pitt's. Even with blind Mike Norvell trying to pick him. Give him some help because he needs it, and you can put together a roster. And if they're decent or good next year, we don't have to worry about who gets the credit or say Mike Norvell sucks or Mike Norvell's being propped up. That's fine. You still have a chance to have a good season, and you're still going to be Florida State. And that's what matters, man. I think the reason I sound like this is because, look, man, I was surprised. I wish they had made a change. I was hoping they would make a change because I think you just need a fresh start. This isn't it. And I think you've given him 2 years. 2 and 10 was fireable. Giving him another year and nothing really changing. Barely changing. There's a chance you're going to end up going 3 and 7. It's fireable. You should be fired. But he wasn't fired. And I just don't want the next 9 months to be about how much everything sucks. Because you still get to be a Florida State fan, man. And that doesn't mean that you're destined for failure. Like, that NC, I went tail.
Is this season a failure?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say,
especially the way it started, man. 3-0, come on. But yes, it's a failure. Whether you beat Florida or not, it's a failure. And you know why it's a failure? Because it had a chance to be a real success. Like a real, 9-win success. And you whatever you are, 24th in S&P rating. You have the 25th ranked defense in the country. You have a top 15 offense in the country. You have all these metrics that say you should be good, but apparently you're coached so poorly in the minute details that matter that you're 5 and 6. Everybody else around you is in the top 10 that has similar numbers to you, similar metrics to you, and you're 5 and 6. So yes, you failed to make the most of an ACC championship game caliber roster. I'm not saying you would win the ACC championship, but you have a roster that's good enough to compete for it, and you failed in some incredible ways. But I was going to tell this story. So I was tailgating on Friday night. Not really tailgating. Stephanie was. Her headquarters for her company is in Cary, North Carolina, so she knows a lot of people that are NC State fans. So we were talking with them before the game, and just talking, and they've been NC State fans for years. They've been tailgating in that same spot for 30 years, which is crazy. And to think that, Dave Doran has been there for 12 years. And I was talking to some of their fans, and they're like, yeah, it feels like it's time for a change, but it's NC State. What are you expecting kind of thing? Who are we? This is kind of our lot in life. That's not Florida State's lot in life. I know it feels like that because of these last 2 years. I got to remind everyone, it was 2 years ago you were a playoff team. So it can't happen here. You had a better year. Mike Norvell's had a better season at Florida State than NC State has ever had in the history of its program. Mike Norvell, who can't coach his way out of a wet paper bag, folks, apparently, he had a better season than NC State's ever had. Had a better season than, I would say 85% of college football programs have ever had. That's the beauty of getting to be a Florida State fan, man. There's always hope because you are an attractive place to come play because of the people listening to this show. The passion, the fact that stadium is full for Virginia Tech game where they're an interim coach and you're on you've lost 4 of your last 5 games. That place is still packed and it's still electric. That's why Florida State always should have hope. And you can't be – I just don't want people to be hopeless.
I don't think people are hopeless. People are angry. Yeah, man. I don't think anybody's feeling hopeless.
I think you're mad,
I don't feel hopeless.
right?
I'm angry.
You're mad because he's here. You're mad because he's still here.
I believe them. They're going to spend a whole bunch of money to make this thing be good. I believe them. And I think, they probably will be good. But at what cost, man? And not a financial cost, but just pride. Like him? Why does he get picked? Why did he win the lottery to be the guy here, man? It's crazy.
That's all understandable. I get it. And it's not fair to Willie Taggart, man. He got fired
can he file a civil suit?
Or whatever.
I mean, golly.
So I get it all. I get all that. And I get the anger. And I get the frustration because this isn't good enough. And people say, well, apparently it is because he's still the head coach. Well, there's nuance and there's gray. But no, this isn't good enough. This isn't Florida State. This isn't Florida State at all. I'm just not of the belief, and I don't think you are either. I'm not of the belief that it's just destined for this. There is hope. No. I have hope going into next year. I legitimately have hope. I don't have hope that they're going to win a national championship, but I have hope that they're going to be one of the best teams in the ACC, and I don't think that's foolish. I just don't think that's foolish. But it might end up being foolish, but I don't think it's foolish to think that whoever they bring in, the money they spend to restructure, quote unquote, the coaches they keep, the coaches they don't keep, the players they keep, the players they don't keep, and the players they bring in, I think they will put together a roster, coaching staff and player-wise, that will be on par or better than anyone else in the conference. I wholeheartedly believe that because I think they almost did it this year. I think if you trade quarterbacks in that game Friday night, Florida State's got 9 or 10 wins, including the one on Friday night. I love you, Tommy. You're a tough kid. God bless you. It's just not good enough. So that's what keeps bringing me back to the quarterback. If Carson Beck was the Florida State quarterback, I don't know, because how does the offense go without a quarterback that can run? I get all that. But let's use the Mensa kid or C.J. Bailey. He can move a little bit. If you just are the Morris kid of Virginia, for crying out loud. Somebody that can make on-time throws to open guys repeatedly and consistently, this is a 9-win team. Now, that doesn't excuse Mike Norvell. It's not Tommy's fault that he's here. It's Mike Norvell's fault that this was his best option. After 5 seasons, his best option was to go get Tommy Castellanos and Gus Malzahn. But I think it was a quick fix, hoping for a better fix next year. But
man, he
by
said
God,
quick fix.
please bring a quarterback.
He said quick fix, man. A year ago, he said it's going to be a quick fix.
Well,
I
you
don't
could be
think this
mad
was the
at him
plan.
and point at him and say you were wrong. I get it.
This wasn't the plan. I just don't think this was the plan at all. There's no way this was the plan. Like,
You know
let's
what's
just
crazy,
not
though, is like,
go ahead.
why didn't they do this after Stanford?
Yeah, the statement. Yeah, absolutely. Right?
Because
that's the
what
thing.
I think.
Here's the
Yeah,
thing. Sorry,
go
Corey. They are paying a guy
I've
$10
talked
million.
way too much.
No,
I interrupted you just now to tell you I've been talking too much, and I'd like to formally apologize by interrupting you again. But go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, to your point about the timing of a statement, they said they were going to do their assessment at the end of the year or whatever. Man, they have such little faith in this guy that even against a 3-win Florida team, they can't wait to make the announcement after that game, because if they lose that game too and then had to make this announcement, it would be an absolute nuclear reaction from the fan base. Even they had to do it after a loss against NC State. There's a possibility they could beat Florida, but they're like, nope, probably not. And if we have to announce to this whole fan base that we're bringing this guy back after another loss on the road, and it's to that team, holy hell, like there's no way we can get through it. Like that's how far his star has fallen. Like $10 million head coach, so helpless to win football games on the road. They're like, man, we can't risk we're playing a 3-win team in the end of the season.
Yep.
We don't have any confidence that we can win that game and have some sort of.
They don't win on the road, so they could be playing. If they were playing at Childs High School, you'd be like, man, this is a coin toss.
Here come the Timberwolves.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. All of a sudden, Florida State doesn't know how to catch the ball, or they had 28 penalties against Childs that night. Like, just crazy stuff happens to this team on the road. But yeah, man, that's all fair. And I also would say what really was perplexing when you look at it now is they announced after the Stanford game that they're gonna do a comprehensive assessment, is the wording, of the football program at the end of the season. Okay, fine. So then he proceeds after that announcement. They have a bye week. They beat the tar out of Wake Forest. They lose at Clemson, first FCS team or FBS team, no, Power 4 team to do that in 7 games, to lose at Clemson, and they're down 18-0. They come home, they beat a bad Virginia Tech team, but they put it on them. That's fine. And then they go lose to a 5-5 NC State team that got housed by Miami. And then you decide to make the announcement that you've done enough comprehensive assessing that this is good enough and you're keeping them.
2-2.
That's where it's a bothersome, right? Like, what did you see in the last 4 games that made this the right play? In hindsight, they should have just come out after Stanford and said, we're keeping them. But they didn't.
It makes me wonder, Corey.
Or after Virginia Tech.
What could
Why
he
not do it after the Virginia Tech game?
Yeah, I know, right? Like you won a game, after the Virginia Tech game. Yeah, what was going to change from the NC State game? I don't know. I guess James Franklin came off the board, but
that's what I was wondering. Like, did something happen in the last week? Because if they were, it's not like they liked what they saw in Raleigh, so that doesn't make a ton of sense. So why would you be, if you know you're probably going to keep them anyway, or you are going to keep them, then just do it after a 20-point win. That would have made more sense at least. People wouldn't have been happy about it, but they're certainly happier than after a loss. And yeah, but I did think this was the right play, by the way, for the administration. I know you just mentioned something else, but I don't think you wait after the Florida game. If you know you're going to keep them, just announce it. No point in another week of this. Just know that it's happening. You also got to know if your head coach is coming back, because you do have a recruiting class that is right now ranked 14th in the country. It's not like you're 32nd. You're ahead of – hold on. I just had it up. I mean, I know it's by margins, people, but Florida's got the 13th class, even though they don't have a coach, which is crazy. Florida State's ahead of Clemson, who's 15th. South Carolina's 16th. Oklahoma's 19th. Ole Miss is 20th. Texas Tech is 21st. Auburn's 25th. So SMU's 28th. Like, you have one of the better-ish recruiting classes in the country. So you got to keep that intact, and making this announcement now at least gives you a better chance to do that than waiting another week and letting more, toxicity get into the recruits' heads, I guess.
Two other questions I had for you, Corey, although this show's going a little bit long, but that was to be expected. I might have to take the helm of offering our picks over at Underdog this week. I don't know if I gave this out over the air, but apparently I made this. I don't even remember. It was a 6-1 payout. I took the lower on Tommy, 240.5 passing yards. He was at 203. I took lower on John Mateer passing yards. Maybe you did this, Corey. Did you do this one, Mateer 173 lower, and then Carson Beck higher, 248.5?
That sounds right.
I think you did it.
You're having me guess so many things, I always forget. But yeah, that sounds right.
I think I might have. Yeah, this was the second one you gave out. You won this one, Corey. 6-1 payout. You got us paid, dog.
I was due after going 0 for the week before, right?
For the NC State game, though, we did not deliver for you. We got 3 wrong out of the 4. Weinberg lower on his 7.5 kicking points.
Hey, by the way, Jake,
it was there.
It was right there for you, my man. Come on, dog.
Oh, we'll see what's out there for the Florida State game. We'll cook it up, or maybe we just need to get Corey. Maybe Corey's Briar Patch is just quarterbacks nationally. In these bigger sort of games or whatever. So maybe we'll cook another one up for you folks. You can do it yourself. It's completely easy. You can always do the flex pick. Give yourself a little bit of wiggle room. If you miss one, you still can win your pick'em sheet. Download the app today. Sign with promo code WARCHANT to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code WARCHANT. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks. Win money. Underdog Fantasy Sports must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 and older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. AI is coming for our jobs, bots are actively making us fight each other on social media, and a pound of beef costs how much? Life has never been easy, but new stressors definitely complicate things. Oh, and there's you out there having to be a parent in this climate, or maybe you're going through a bad breakup. Maybe you have to manage an ailing, aging family member. You're making do, but might be a good idea to talk some stuff out. Yes, we've got friends, but it might not be the easiest on-ramp to unload all of our problems onto them. That's where Rula comes in. R-U-L-A. Look, if we pull a muscle at the gym, we'll go see a doctor most times. Access to therapy should be treated the same, but there's high copays and long waits. It doesn't make sense for many, but Rula makes therapy simple, affordable, and fast. The average session copay is $15. That's basically the cost of lunch, but instead of a sandwich, you are investing in your own headspace. Thousands of men have already found the care that they need. Don't keep putting it off. Go to Rula.com/wakeup to get started. That's RULA.com/wakeup. Take the first step, get connected. Let's control our mental health. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, warchantbogo, your promo code. The question I had Corey, we don't have to spend too much time on this one. We got 2 more. Just ultimately, we talked about the timing of the announcement, right, that they made after Stanford and then doing it after the NC State loss on Sunday. I don't know, reasonable is probably not the right descriptor to use in this. Like, what could he have done outside of the impossible, which is to have gone 2-10 again? Like, what do you think, what would have pushed their hand to be like, yeah, we can't do this?
I think that's a really good question, man. And I think we do need to like classify these 2 bad seasons. Like 2-10 was, as we've said multiple times, I think for my money, it's the worst season in school history. It was the least competitive, just disgusting season that anyone's ever had. And coming off a 13-win season was without precedent. It was an unprecedented disaster. This season has been just maddening because all those games were there for you to win, save, let's say, Miami. All those games you probably should have won, except maybe Miami and Clemson. But even Clemson, like when you looked last year when Florida State was on the field, they didn't belong on the field with like the last 7 teams they played. It didn't seem like.
Right.
Just pushed around, non-competitive. Every touchdown seemed like a miracle. It just wasn't – it was awful to watch. This has been a different kind of failure, right? Because they've been in every game. Even on the road, they've been in these games. The Miami game is the one they were least in, I would say. In that one, if they could have recovered one of those onside kicks, who knows? They lost by 6 points. So I think that's why when you do look at it, you can see from the administration's point of view, because they will bring this up, there were major strides made in everything except the wins. I know that's such a dumb thing to say. That's you could quote that, you could put that on a T-shirt, but it's the truth. Like they do have the number 25 defense in the country. They do have I haven't looked it up, a number 12 offense in the country. They are, by all these stupid metrics and everything, one of the 30 best teams in the country by the way they've actually played. They just don't finish drives on offense on the road, and they have crazy penalties, and they have bad replay angles, and they have punts bounce off their heads. Like, they have all these things happen, but if you watch the product on the field, nobody listening to this disagrees with this team is much better than last year's team. They did make strides. So
this team is favored by 14.5 against last year's team, and they actually would cover.
But yeah, you're right, especially if it was a home.
Yeah.
If it was on the road, well, I guess the universe implodes because who's on the road and who's at home? The Florida State play. Yes, but they would beat last year's team comfortably. So you look at it like that as the administration, you could say, yeah, you could talk yourself into they've been unlucky. Now,
we should have beat Stanford. I'm sure they, again, to play this kind of role about administration, they probably are 110% in their minds they should have beat Stanford. Like, that was a touchdown. Sawchuk was in, and it was only a matter of time.
And you win. Yeah. You probably win. Yes. They probably think Deuce was in.
Yep, against Virginia. Yep, we got screwed there.
If Deuce doesn't get hurt against Pitt, you probably win that game. I mean, he is one of the, 3 or 5 best receivers in the country. That's a pretty big loss. And you already didn't have Pittman, so losing him was a big deal. There were all these things that happened, and all the drops against Clemson. I don't know if that's unlucky or bad coaching, but it is what it is. And so you can look at this season and be like, okay, this is still a failure by our standards, but there was real improvement. This was a much better football team. It did beat Alabama. It might beat Florida. And it was close in all these other games. It wasn't an embarrassing – there were no embarrassing games. Maybe the Stanford game, I guess you would count as one. But there were no embarrassing results
NC State
other than all the results.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, on their own, there's nothing embarrassing about losing at home to Pitt. But
it was with that true freshman quarterback making his first start.
A true freshman quarterback who you would pay $2 million to come play for you next year.
Yeah. He did it on the road. He did it on the road, Corey. He came on the road and did it.
Go get you a kid that can play. And he did it against Georgia Tech, too.
Yeah.
Go get you a kid that can make plays on the road. That would be something. So that's where I think where I have we put them all together. And I've said it multiple times, 3-13. He's 2-6 this year. This is not, in my opinion, a 2-6. This is not a 5-7, 6-6 football team. I know the record is what the record is. This was a team that if it played better in certain situations and got better coaching, executed better, got luckier, is an 8 or 9 win team. And had the talent to be an 8 or 9 win team. And I think the coaching to be an 8 or 9 win team. I think they had good game plans in a lot of these games. It just, for whatever reason, because you have the unluckiest head coach in the world, it didn't work out. Last year's team was a disaster. And if you would have had a similar season to last year where you had no hope in any of these games and they were mocking you by the middle of the second quarter and and people were leaving at halftime because the game was over like last year, then yeah, you would have made a change. But you can squint and see where this product was better and you have hope for the future. And they do have some young players that you could be legitimately excited about. Especially, by the way, Mandrell Desir got another sack. what is this guy?
That's crazy.
And the other Desir, Daryl had led the team in tackles, I think, or had like 6 of them. That to me, that's why it's so imperative. They need to bring back Tony White, man, and they need to keep those guys. Those are the types of players, to get positive for a second, those are the types of players that can help build you a culture that can be more than 8 months. You know what I mean? Like those two guys, because it's the way they play. They play like their hair is on fire every single snap. And next year, they'll be the guys. They're not going to be true freshmen that are coming in trying to learn. And it didn't sound like they wasted any time trying to show who they were. But they're not going to be dipping their toe in the water next year, not trying to ruffle any feathers because they're true freshmen, just trying to find their spot on the team. They could be the leaders as true sophomores. And they are proven. Mandrell's going to be a freshman All-American. He might be All-ACC first team. I don't know. But he's definitely going to be a freshman All-American. And if you get both of those guys to come back, that is a really nice cornerstone to go along with Arnaud, who I think is good, and Rawls, who I think is really good. Like, they got some pieces. They got some pieces on that side of the ball.
I'm glad. They got
the
105.
offense is going to be a brand new 11 probably again.
Got 105 cracks at this. They got a couple. They got some. That's good. I'm glad.
Hey, it's good, right?
That's good.
They got some. Hey, it's better than last year when who on last year's team were you excited about seeing in 2025? Nobody. We all thought the Danzy kid was terrible.
Yeah.
Daryl
Desir had 7
the ball
tackles,
anymore.
by the way. What was?
Can't throw Danzy the ball anymore. Can't give him the ball in a reverse. That's just out of the playbook. All right, fair enough.
Saving it for Florida. They're nothing.
Yeah, that's right. There you go.
Emptying out the clip.
But Daryl had 7 tackles.
7 tackles.
This year.
Yep.
Yeah, man. And he's not even the best this year. And he's a true freshman playing against a good offense and a physical offense out there making 7 tackles, man. That really bodes well for the future if you keep him on your roster. Those are good players, man.
Yeah. I got this question to ask you, but it'll come up at some point, I'm sure. So I don't know. Do we need to keep people around here much longer? 50, well, we'll go an hour plus. It's a Monday.
I'll give you a 45-second answer.
So what were they waiting for, man? Like if this is what they're going to have to do, why didn't they do it this past year? I mean, I know they try to get some elite guys, right? And some of these elite guys went to places like Ohio State and Texas Tech that you assume probably paid them a little bit more, but I mean, you kept the recruiting and scouting apparatus intact around you, like, and you came off 2-10. Listen, 2-10. And listen, I don't think he should have been fired after last year because of what he had done in 2020. I think like 2023 and 24, like wash each other clean. It's like, okay, man, like clean slate. Let's start from zero and see where we're at. And it's like, man, maybe 5-7 and we lose to an interim coach in Gainesville again. Like, no, thank you. Like that's fireable. But like coming off of how terrible last year was, and listen again, man, quick fix. I know what this looks like. I know what needs to happen. They support him and step up and get rid of the coordinators. All these, they could have done these. I feel like, Corey, everything they're going to do, they probably could have done it 10 months ago. Like, why the hell didn't they do it then?
You talking about the structural change?
Yeah,
thing?
Everything that we
they
anticipate happening.
That's what they were trying to do obviously with the coordinators. And look, man, there's no way you could argue the coordinators weren't good hires. They were. They made their sides of the ball much, much better very, very quickly.
But what if you don't get another year out of them, then it's what was
yeah, that's yeah. Well, with Tony White especially, I like what he's building. You can see some real progress there on the second half of the season, and you just wonder what it would look like with guys more built for his defense. And he'll have a real crack at the portal for the first time, and he's bringing in his own recruits, like all that stuff. By the way, Tony, be a little careful in the press conferences, but when it comes to that, but
yeah, I looked at Matt. I'm like, what did he just do?
Yeah, it's fine, but you've got to that's why I want it would be big for him to come back. I think those players play hard for him. They do. I think since the Pitt game, they've been by far the best side of the ball. They played really hard and really well. They've gotten better, and they've got some young talent to build around. And what is cool about that side of the ball is it's not going to be a whole – if you get the guys to come back that you want to come back. Yeah. You're talking about Barker, Little, the Desir twins, Kevin Wynn, Arnaud, maybe a couple linebackers. You still have to go get a few. But on that side of the ball, I think you're thinking, okay, we can go get we've got a nice core here already.
They do.
We've got a really nice core. In fact, it's a core of like NFL players. Like a few of those guys are going to be playing in the league, maybe more than a few. That's a really good place to start, and it will help the competitive spirit of the team too when you're bringing in guys off the portal that are going to be playing with dudes that have earned their spot, that they've been here, and then your younger guys, I think they've got talented younger guys too. You hope you need something on the defensive line, but I just think that all builds up the program on that side of the ball, and you could have some real competition and some real growth there, and some real special. Maybe you'll get some special. The Desir twins might be legit special, like NFL player twin brothers. Like that doesn't happen much. That's cool. You got something like that, perhaps.
The Barbers,
and I
the
really do
McCourties.
believe in him as a coach. Offense is a little more tricky because I'm not under the impression that Malzahn will be here. I don't even know if you'd want him here. And who's your quarterback? All that's going to be a big. I don't even remember what the question was. What point I was trying to make. But all
what were they waiting for, man? Like again, they're going to make all these big structural changes.
Oh yeah. So they thought that was the big adjustment last year, was to get the new coordinators, help Mike. Get rid of that horrible offense, get the stink of that offense off the program, bring in Malzahn because he's going to raise the floor considerably, which he did. He did. We've gone through it all. The offense the floor has been raised considerably. Except they've scored 3 touchdowns total in their last 3 road games, which is embarrassing, which is 2024 nonsense.
5 straight games
overall,
not scoring in the first quarter too, apparently.
But that's also because they always choose to kick. So they never get the ball first,
never get
and
off the field
the opponent usually has a 9-minute drive. So they usually only get the ball once in the quarter. So anyway, that's something I might change. But when it comes to Norvell, I was thinking, so I think they thought that was the way to quick fix it. I think now, after another year of seeing other schools do better than them, and then see their school still operating in this kind of molasses, they're like, okay, it's more than just who's the coordinator. Or what we're taking off Norvell's plate. We've got to overhaul the complete player acquisition system here. What is the resume of the person that's doing the heavy lifting and recruiting and evaluating for us out of the portal and out of the high school ranks? That needs to change, and see if that changes and if that helps and blah blah blah. That's they thought it would be more of a quick fix. Tony White's a good coach, man.
He is. Yeah,
and Gus Malzahn is proven. So they went and got him coordinators. Well,
he went and got himself a coordinator. He went and got Gus, but the Tony White to me probably feels like he went to Jimmy Sexton and was like, "Help, who's out there?"
Yeah.
And I know he's not
fair.
rep by Jimmy Sexton, Tony White, but I'm sure there was people.
But you know what I think about it, and we make fun of it. We made fun of it on our the live reaction we had on Sunday. But I know he's going to keep doing it.
Cash.
Not only that, man. Yes, he does the cash down where the head coach is there. Like, I don't know, what are you even doing there? Like rubbing nickels together? Is that or rubbing ones?
Money. Yeah, it's like money. Give me.
But what is that? What does the money sign even mean? Are you supposed to be rubbing paper bills together?
Yeah.
Not
It's money.
coins.
It's cash down. This is where you make your money.
No, I get it. The actual.
Why does that signal? Why does that become the
signal
international symbol for money?
Yeah.
Right? I don't know.
It's just like you're flipping dollar bills or you're flipping coins in your hands. But either way,
counting bills.
I would like my head coach not to do that. And I think the reason is, and I've never really complained about this before, but you know what, Mike?
Everything's free.
It's all fair
now.
game,
Yep.
and you got to keep your job, $50 million man.
Yep.
So you can take a little criticism. I think it's corny as hell. I don't think a college football team should be doing stuff like that. I don't think a head coach should be doing stuff like that. And the reason I say that is because I do look around sometimes at the sideline at Columbus, Ohio, in Athens, Georgia, in
Eugene, Oregon,
Oxford, Mississippi. I don't see that kind of stuff. I also don't see the head coach repeatedly pounding his chest as if the only thing that matters is heart. How's about you coach them up better and just assume they're playing as hard as they can?
You weren't watching the game on TV, Corey. We who watch a game on TV had the full experience of that. I
saw it, man. I was watching it a lot. He did it more than I've ever seen him do it. And I don't like it because it implies that that's all that matters is if you believe, if you care and you play with your heart. How about you teach me a technique or call a coverage where I'm in position to go make a play. And don't worry about my heart because it's here and it bleeds red. We're all set here, Coach. How about during the week you put me in a better position to succeed, and it doesn't always come down to heart. Sometimes it comes down to game planning and execution. Also, maybe get a quarterback that can hit the broadside of a flipping barn occasionally. That might help more than you pounding your chest and telling me it's about heart. Sorry, Tommy, with all these shots, buddy. You lead the team in rushing. You have been a very tough kid, legitimately, it has been fun to watch you at times. It has. God bless you. But yes, that would bother me, and I think that needs to be erased from the entire mindset because I think they tune it out. I think it's almost a little bit condescending because it implies that that what really matters is what's in your chest. And no, man, what really matters is what's in your brain. You got to be able to you've got to know what you're doing and believe in yourself. And not just believe in your heart and how hard you're playing. It's not about will all the time. It's not about just wanting more than the other guy.
Corey,
or working hard or having that edge. It's about getting coached the F up. So coach them up. And don't anyway, I don't want to go off on I've already gone off on too big of a rant, but that I don't know why that bothered me so much, both the cash down stuff. But that one's just like I just think that's corny and needs to stop.
I think a lot of people do. I remember the first time I saw was Jeff Collins when he was the DC at Florida, and obviously I'm just like, what a
great
loser.
Jeff Collins.
Yeah, I'm like, what a loser.
And it didn't take off like wildfire after that.
No, I think a decent amount of other schools do it, but I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know how many head coaches, especially when the head coach is an offensive dude. If you want to, if Kirby was yelling, it's like, all right, man, yeah, Kirby coaches me every single day.
It's picking nits when there's much bigger nits to pick. There are elephants to pick. So it's just I'm wasting breath on it. But I think that kind of stuff, the rah-rah stuff about heart and want to and nobody works harder than us, I think all that should be replaced and reset with nobody works smarter than us. Nobody game plans as well as we do. You're not going to be coached or prepared any better than when you come here. You're never going to work harder. How about you're never going to be better prepared to go succeed? Because we're going to make sure from Sunday to Friday, you're going to know what the F you're doing, and you're going to be in a great position to succeed and go score touchdowns and make your girlfriend and mom really happy. That's what we'll do here at Florida State. Not work you to death. Where
at 6 a.m.
At 6 a.m. where that hasn't paid off in 2.5 years. So we're not going to do that. We're going to just make sure you're prepared. And so that message of always believing in them and the want and the pride and the fight and the blah and the blah and the blah and the blah, enough. I can promise you this, Mike, and I know you're still listening. You're a huge fan of the show. Nobody wants to hear it at all for the next 12 months. The people you're talking to in those press conferences, which is the fans, they don't want to hear how much you preach fight and heart and want to and pride. They want to know why your players are getting better or why they're not getting better. Jared Verse with a sack, by the way. Nice. Just watching this live. Nice. To remember the good old days. Jared Verse getting a sack on Sunday Night Football. So they used to have players around here, folks.
Hey, on the way out, shout out to a winner, Brian Penske and the women's soccer team.
Amen, brother.
Hit the road to take on the 2 seed Georgetown and won 3-1 in the third round of the NCAA tournament yesterday afternoon. Again, up there in D.C. So they're going to the quarters. They're
hosting Ohio State on Friday because Ohio State knocked off Notre Dame, who I think not only was the number 1 seed, they might have been the number 1 overall seed. And Ohio State knocked them off in the second round. So Florida State plays them Friday at 6, I think.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's a great win, especially after the disappointment of last year. It was kind of cool that Florida State went on the road. They're never on the road, the soccer team in the postseason, ever. They're always playing at the Plex. So for them to go on the road, it's a tough draw for Georgetown. I assume that's one of the better seasons in Georgetown women's soccer history. And for all their accomplishments, they get Florida State in the third round. Congrats. And they lost 3-1. And also, but that's a great win. Hopefully they can make it if they win on Friday against Ohio State, they make it to the College Cup for the 10th time in 11 years, and still have a chance to be. They're one of the final 8 teams left now, and if they win that, they'll obviously be one of the final 4 teams standing, which is a really great accomplishment. And also shout out to Leger Jones,
that's right,
who hit a school tying record 10 3-pointers.
Who'd he tie? Do we know?
The great George McLeod, my man. Back in the late 80s, man. Pat Kennedy. I mean, that's crazy. Now, the line was a little closer, but 10 3-point makes in 1988 is crazy. But George McLeod could really, really shoot. And then I would assume the 21 3-point attempts is a school record. But they also took 49 3-pointers as a team, which broke their already ACC record that they've held for, I think, 8 days. Yeah. They lead the country in 3-point attempts. They're averaging right at 39 a game. right at 40. I think it's 195 in 5 games. It's insane in a great way, but it is insane to watch. Imagine a Leonard Hamilton coach team, and Leonard Hamilton had some great teams and accomplished a lot at Florida State, where one player shot 21 3-pointers in a game. What in the world? It's unbelievable. Every game there's another crazy record being broken. Like, I can't wait to see who breaks LeJay Jones's record for 3-point attempts in a game.
Chauncey
My
Wiggins?
money is on Kobe McGee.
Okay.
Probably on Friday night when they play A&M, or maybe maybe tomorrow night when they play
Cal State Bakersfield.
Oh, CSB. Maybe Kobe McGee will break the record and shoot 24 threes and make 11 of them.
4
Because
p.m.
Luke is all about breaking records, man.
I like that. 4
I do
p.m.
too.
Let's normalize matinee college basketball.
What time is that game?
Oh, never mind. It's 7 p.m. I'm on the Cal State Bakersfield website.
Man.
7 p.m.
Oh.
That would have been awesome. It's a 4 p.m. game in the middle of the afternoon on a Tuesday.
In the middle of a workday game.
Come on, man.
Get out to the Tuck at 4 p.m. for this game. Yeah, that would have been awesome.
It's 7.
Hey,
I'm
before
sorry,
we leave,
everybody.
though, I did want to give a shout-out to a couple of people that I met in Raleigh that were very nice. First was, oh, boy, I should have my phone ready. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Obviously, Mike Norvell is one of the people you want to shout out. We know that.
Yeah, Mike, great game. A lot of fun to watch. Always fun to watch your team on the road. Can't wait to run it back with you next year. No,
Next week. Next week, we have to wait
next week,
year.
man. I'm going to be in Gainesville. You are too. It's going to be
know,
exciting.
I know.
Oh man.
Will a lawnmower attack you guys? What do you think the chances are?
Unbelievable what happened there with that stupid orange. I've never heard anything so loud. And all it was doing was blowing grass off the field. But, Aslan, I ask you.
Yes, sir.
It was in the middle of the field.
Right.
So why would it be it just none of it.
If you could identify the way the blades of grass were cut, maybe you would have noticed which side he started from. But I get it; it's in the middle of the field, so it's a coin flip. Do we go to the left or we go to the right?
And then, of course, they both ended up right by us in the corner because that's what happens. We're talking about the Warchant rap, everyone, if you don't know. But anyway, so I talked to a Howard who was from Virginia. He saw me in the parking lot going into the game, and he big fan of the show. Well, I don't know if he said big. He's a fan of the show. He said he appreciates us, appreciates my humor, which I try to add a little levity every now and again, which we need. And he also, it was funny, he was there with an NC State fan, one of his friends, but he was wearing neutral colors because he'd heard so many stories about the urine bombs being thrown on fans. And he's like, look, if we were like 10-1 or 11-0, I would be wearing Florida State gear. But for a 5-5 team, I don't want urine on me, so I decided to wear neutral colors. And I'm like, buddy, I think that's a little overblown, but I appreciate that.
It has
and
to
he
be.
was he just moved back to the States. I think he was in the military.
Okay.
I might be making that up.
Does he have a name?
Howard. His name was Howard.
Okay.
Lives in Virginia now. Was able to make it down for the NC State game. He definitely moved back from overseas, but I'm not sure if he was in the military. But either way, it was very nice meeting him. And then this last story was even crazier, Aslan. I was at Orange Theory on Friday morning, as I'm wont to do. Because
In Raleigh?
Yeah.
My
they have
guy
them all over.
grinding on the road.
Buddy, this is a temple, my man. This is a temple. And this was not an easy Orange Theory to get to. I had to park on some crazy side street to find it. And I'm in there. This was the cool part, is there's probably 11 people in the class. This is a noon class on Friday. There's 2 Florida State fans in there when I get there. And so we start talking about the game a little bit. They acted like they didn't know who I was, which was cute. And then we're in the class and we're doing it, and these 2 other women walk in. And then they're talking to the trainer, and they say they're from Tampa, and she's like, "Oh, he's here to watch the game too." And she gives me a Go Noles arm, Warchant chop.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, it turns out her name is Devin, by the way. I think she's from Tampa. Young, well, I don't know. I should.
Whoa!
Sorry, Steph. A young woman that's there, and it was her first workout since her cancer went in remission.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
That's the reason I brought up
Way
the
to
young
go.
part. Like, young, like, it has to be late 20s.
Yeah.
And had cancer, battled through it, it appears, and it was her first workout in, I think, over a year maybe.
Nice.
And it was her first Florida State game, she said, since the 2016 Miami game.
Aw. All right.
So
well,
that's really
awesome,
cool, right?
yeah.
And obviously she's bad luck and she doesn't need to go any more football games. But it was cool that she was there, and that was just a really neat. That was really neat to see the Florida State, and that's what gives me hope about the future. Is this fan base, man? Like the passion, like it's a Raleigh Orange Theory class with 11 people in it, and 5 of us are there for the Florida State game. The other people there didn't even know there was a game.
We're just a good-looking, fit bunch,
fan
man.
base.
We're just a good-looking, fit fan base, dude.
Yeah, buddy, you ain't lying. And so, yeah, just want to give a shout-out to Howard and Devin. That was really cool to meet them. And anybody else that wants to say anything nice to me in Gainesville, by all means, do it. And, yeah, shout-out to Devin for, I don't know, do you say it's in remission, and I don't know what kind of cancer it was. I think lung, but I might have misheard. But you're very young to have cancer at all, and really cool that she was out there grinding and after being able to work out again, because obviously nobody wants to go through that, especially somebody young. It's really scary, and it's really cool that she got to go watch a Florida State game, and she got to see a ball bounce off a player's helmet. Like, go see something historic if you're going to go to your first game in 9 years.
Historic monologue on the way from Jeff Cameron, 1 to 4 o'clock. Check out Jeff Cameron Show with Jeff Cameron and Tom Lang.
These next 9 months are going to be something. Holy cow.
Check out warchant.com, maybe a 3-2-1. We'll do the mailbag show for you folks tomorrow, so get your questions in over. Maybe by the time you're listening to this, a lot of you might be locked by then. So typically what I'm trying to do is get the thread posted Sunday night, and then I lock it down around lunchtime on Monday, and that usually gives us enough questions to get through a show. So get involved in that. We're winding down, generating discussion sparked by Cummins. So get involved, get an entry into the end-of-year grand prize drawing for a portable generator and a portable power station. And wait till you hear about the giveaway we're working on for next season. It's next level.
That's intriguing, yeah.
Structural changes we're making to the to the giveaway portion of this program. So, yeah, get involved in the mailbag. Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 4 o'clock. Warchant.com, around the clock. Check out all the writing from there. Corey Clark, Ira Schofel, the best dudes on the beat. Recruiting, too. They got a defensive lineman whose brother played at LSU on the national title game, and defensive end from North Carolina picked the Noles over, I guess, Texas and Nebraska. Yeah. So, recruiting, that's a thing. We got you covered there as well. He's Corey Mazal. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. warchantbogo, your promo code.